Obviously a new tech segment getting a lot more buzz around it. I was just at WWDC. Apple's Vision Pro is now coming to the rest of the world, to Canada. It's been out in the US for a year already. It is still super expensive, like $3,500, like 5,000 Canadian. I have found something that is like a fifth of the price that will get you into that spatial computing realm, that will give you a first-hand experience of what it's like, give you some options, and obviously being budget friendly, I think is a lot better for most people. So this device right here is the new XREAL Beam Pro. You can see I've got the box, I've got the actual device, and a telltale sign of spatial computing, or I guess capturing spatial video, is having those two cameras on the back. And technically an iPhone 15 Pro, 15 Pro Max can record spatial video. You need the two cameras to give you depth, but what actually gives you a better 3D experience is having more space between the cameras. And the distance between the two cameras is 50 mils, which is actually mimicking what takes place in the human eye. So this enhances the realism of 3D videos to better match, obviously, human vision. This is essentially a phone without a phone feature. It's like an iPod Touch. It's running an Android with Nebula skin, Nebula OS over top. And this becomes its own device that you can use, obviously, to access all sorts of apps. But when you pair that with their Air 2 Pro, this becomes a lot more of a capable device and enables you to record that spatial video, like I said, and interact with it using this with the glasses. So technically, you can rock them as two separate devices. So the Air 2 Pros have been out now for a while. This essentially mirrors a device if you're using them as a standalone. So you can plug this in via USB-C. With Beam Pro, you can split screen apps. So having multiple apps opened in MySpace is really great for things like multitasking, watching different sorts of content. And alongside of that, you can also adjust the screen size as well as the distance of the windows, which makes it easier to organize a given workspace, get the most out of it. And I can set it up for things like media consumption or just staying as productive as I want. It has two USB-C ports at the bottom, which can be used for either simultaneous charging or use, kind of mix and match, whichever one is more convenient for you. It also has a micro SD card slot for expanding memory up to 1 terabyte. But with the new Pros, they actually have this new feature where you can change the opacity kind of built into the actual glasses. So you've got some physical controls like on the bottom. When you toggle between them, that actually gives you like the full transparency mode. And as you cycle through, the shade gets darker through something called electrochromatic dimming, which gives you that tinted option. So that is with the Pro model. And like I said, when you connect this to Beam Pro, this now becomes a full AR device. And when you actually think about it, this is similar to Vision Pro with the fact that, you know, when you have this on, Vision Pro has the battery pack. So it's a very similar experience where you have the cable connected to a separate device, but now the combo gives you the option to use this as almost like a touchpad and also as the main controller for what you're seeing in AR. So for example, I've got this booted up right now. I'll share my image like on screen. I can see my main menu system, and I'm using the Beam Pro as the remote, and I can also just swipe through to get through the different menu systems. So you can see when I'm plugged in what the main UI looks like. And this main area here is, I guess, like the main touchpad area. So I'm swiping between different pages. When I'm in an app, I can scroll and obviously just tap to select an actual option. Up top, I've just got some features where I can scan, record, and capture, say, a screenshot. And it's got the home button to lead me back to my main app selection. And when I'm in AR mode in the glasses, I can actually select this little button on the side of the Beam Pro to kind of switch that between an anchored mode where my vision or where I'm looking kind of stays in the same location, or when I kind of toggle that off, it follows me actively wherever I'm looking. So you've got the option to kind of mix and match whatever suits your workflow or how you're using this. But the main thing I really want to talk about is actually recording and viewing spatial video. So it's such a different experience from, obviously, say like this, you're watching this video, you see me in a very 2D plane. It's a 3D-like experience, like you're watching, say, a 3D movie, but you're the one recording those specific moments. So something really cool like, you know, a birthday, a sports moment, the Euros are on right now. If you happen to be at one of the games, it's such a cool experience to be at. It gives you that extra sense of, you know, being there in that moment, which once again, very hard to translate over this video. You kind of just have to watch it. So when you're recording spatial video with this, you just have to simply use the device on its own. You hit the little camera app and you can see right here, switch between Beam Pro to landscape. And now I can automatically start recording spatial video. So quickly right here, you can see like my hand coming in and out. When I stop that recording and play that back, that will give me that sense of depth And obviously those two cameras being spaced wide apart, that's what's giving me that 3D effect. And now with the ease of recording that cool, 3D spatial video, like I said, even if you're using an iPhone before, if you wanted to watch that, you would need, say, like a Vision Pro, $3,500, $5,000 to spend. You can get into that space in a way more budget-friendly option. And even that 3D video that I've recorded off my iPhone, or if you've got the X Beam Pro, you can now watch it on this pair of glasses, which I think is super dope. It's like that great entry point into that spatial video space, which I think is super dope. So obviously all of that is enabled by the two cameras. The device itself has Snapdragon Spatial Computing co-processor. This has 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of storage, and like I said, it's like a phone without the phone. iPod Touch. And for the overall glasses specs, they're 75 grams, so nice and lightweight. You can actually just kind of use them as sunglasses. You can kind of clip them onto your front shirt if you want. Two 0.55 micro OLED displays, so that's 1920 by 1080 res. It's got 46 degrees field of view, 120 hertz refresh rate with up to 500 nits of brightness. They've also got two dual open speakers, and those kind of reduce sound leakage. And the main difference, like I said, is that electrochromatic dimming between them. That's probably the biggest difference between the Air 2s and the originals, and that's what commands that higher price point. But you also have the benefit of having, the full Google Play Store, so you can install games, you can install emulators, you can have all your media on it, and unlike, say, Vision Pro, where this would typically be, say, that little battery pack, you can operate them completely separately. When you want to disconnect that cable, you can still use this as a standalone device, and you can use the glasses as a standalone device, which I think is cool. You're not always fully tethered into the matrix and can live in the RL. And one last thing, when you're using the AR glasses, when it's plugged into Beam Pro, there's a Photos app, and within it, there's a button which you can click called Memory Space, and all the content that you've captured, so all the photos, all the video, kind of gives you a 3D gallery-like effect. So you can scroll through all your media, you can kind of look around and see all the content that you captured. And like I said, I think it's a great budget-friendly way to get into that spatial video, spatial photo kind of realm without breaking the bank. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. I'm actually giving away this device, so if one of you want to be, one of the lucky ones to get into that cool spatial video space, I can actually leave all the content that I recorded on it, so you can kind of live a 3D life of like you're in my studio. I think that would be pretty cool. Let me know if any of you have tried spatial video, spatial computing yet. I know we're kind of like getting into it. I'm sure we'll see a lot more devices roll out in the next year, and I will catch you in one of my next ones. Peace.